I think I know now what faith actually means. Faith is not this selfish trusting in an almighty power to give you what you want. It's not even trusting in that power to give you what is best for you in a relative sense. Faith, as I think it must have been meant by the ancients, is a willingness to step into the unknown and embrace both possibilities, both outcomes, negative and positive, as legitimate. Understanding that even the negative outcome, even death, is acceptable. I can see that when you do that, when you open yourself up to both possibilities, the possibility that you want and the one that you don't want, or the one that you fear, the act of doing that, that's faith. And that's why your soul is here. Like on some, I don't know how to put it, but on some level, that is what's necessary. I think the best text that I've read that illustrates this is the Bhagavad Gita. Where basically, and people should read it if they're interested, but Arjuna is lining up in battle, lining up for battle, preparing to fight his enemies, but his enemies are effectively his relatives and friends. This is a brother war. This is a war between people who otherwise respect and care about each other. And he's lining up for battle and preparing, and he's looking at the other side, and they're lining up, and he's seeing that, these are his basically people that he cares about. He doesn't want to kill these people. And he kind of throws his weapons down and he says, I will not fight this battle. Let them come and destroy us, but I will not kill these people. And, over the course of the book, effectively, God appears to him and says, this is not for you to decide. It has already been ordained who is going to live and who's going to die today. You need to fight because this is the path that has been set before you. It is going to be a painful path. Even if you know you're going to win, it's painful because of the things that you're going to have to do that you don't want to do. But if that is your path, who are you to deny it? I think doing that, I think acting according to what you know to be true, according to what your intuitive sense of what is just, or what your soul must do, in spite of the problems that it creates, or in spite of the danger or the fear. And fully accepting that you may die, or that you may even have to do things or take a path that you didn't want to take. That is faith. And you could almost define the age that we live in by saying that it is a faithless age. People are unwilling to face the truth, the true nature of things. They're looking for a way out. They're looking for an escape. They look for shallow moral justifications for them to justify and enable their cowardliness. And not everything is a physical battle. That's the example I'm using in the Bhagavad Gita, but in life, it's everything. It's every little thing that happens in your life. To act on faith, it's not that you know what's going to happen necessarily. It's not that you know you're going to get the outcome that you want. That's not faith. Faith, in some ways, it's actually the opposite of what religious people have taught us today. It is actually opening yourself up to and accepting fully whatever the outcome is. That's what it is. If faith is anything worth anything, then that's what it is. It is accepting all possible outcomes and embracing them fully. The time that we live in, this age that we live in, is one of fear. Constantly fearing certain outcomes and certain paths. And as a result of that, constantly conniving and trying to plan and shape things according to our preferences, trying to control everything. You cannot be attached to an outcome. Sure, try to control things, try to do things that are preferable. In some sense, it is better to not be attacked and invaded by a foreign occupying force than not to. Did I say that wrong? It's better not to be invaded by an enemy than to be invaded. So certainly try not to, but do not run away from that fight. Do not run away from your responsibility because you are afraid of one outcome. And also, embracing all the possible outcomes also does not mean that all the outcomes are equal. And it does not mean that you adopt a worldview in which you look at everything as being basically the same. Because some people do that too. Some people occupy this perspective where they say, well, ultimately, it doesn't matter. If we get invaded by an invading force or if we go invade someone else, it's all the same. What difference does it make? It doesn't mean that you don't try to seek the outcome that is preferable to you and yours. But you have to embrace all of the possible outcomes, including the one in which you fail. But what that means, to fully embrace that also means not accepting it as the same. Not believing that it doesn't matter because it's all the same. Accepting it in its totality means embracing fully the brutality, the sorrow that you might experience, whatever negative outcome you're dealing with. Not running from it and not trying to pretend that it doesn't matter, but embracing it, looking it in the face whatever happens. And this is why it's such a tragedy that battle today is fought with aircraft dropping bombs and drones, remote warfare, snipers from a distance. I mean, there's very little honor, some in some places, but very generally very little honor in the way that warfare is conducted today. In the ancients, the way that they fought, there was a real beauty in that because you embraced that in order to get the outcome you wanted, you had to fully accept the possibility of getting the opposite. In order to conquer a land, you had to march in with your men at your side and fight these guys sword to sword, spear to spear. And there is always, no matter how strong you are, a real chance that you get killed. Acknowledging that, understanding that fully, accepting that possibility, and yet doing it anyway is just as far as I'm concerned. In liberal morality today, people will argue about, was this invasion justified? Was this battle justified? What are the moral qualms about fighting? I mean, this is just liberal morality is totally devoid of any true virtue. As far as I'm concerned, when the Crusades happened, as long as the Christians and the Muslims both were acting on faith, if they both were fully embracing courageously the realities of battle, then that was a noble adventure for both of them. That was a just cause for both of them. And I don't know the details. That's something I have to read up on more. You can argue that there's, on a smaller level, some things are justified or not, but ultimately my respect goes to the warriors who fought for their people, regardless of their reasons. That's the thing. You didn't need a reason. That you would go and honorably fight for your people, that's reason enough. It's an end of its own. It's a way for you to seek honor and faith. There's very little potential for that in combat today. The cowboys, the gunslingers of the Old West, had a little bit of it. I mean, guns in some ways have devolved combat, but in other ways, I mean, you can still, when you set up a duel where both men are facing each other, and it's a duel to the death, that is an honorable endeavor, as far as I'm concerned. And I don't care why they're dueling. That is a way for men to achieve honor.